Welcome to the Astoria Film Festival virtual step and repeat interviews. Today, we're speaking with Max Cianci and Anthony Peduzzi, whose film Loopy appears in our 2020 festival.
Welcome to the festival. Thank you so much for your film.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was very, very cool to watch.
Thank you.
If you can tell us a little bit about yourselves, about your backgrounds, and then also what led you to making this film specifically.
Sure. Yeah. So got into film and film stuff late in like high schoolish time. We all went to school together, me and Max, and then some of the people we usually work with a lot.
College, not high school.
Yeah. We moved on to college, decided to pursue it there. And it started to work out a little bit. We started working in the industry here a lot on different movies and TV shows that come through here. I worked on the Mr. Rogers movie. I did the miniatures for that. And then we did like some other stuff on the other movies coming out, and started rolling with that. And I've been kind of directing and working on our own projects, corporate, commercial, music video, and that kind of stuff ever since.
Yep. And so like Anthony said, we all met in college, and luckily, I think by our like third year in school, we had really found a core group of people that we like to work with. And Anthony and I, of course, ended up rooming together, and that's how we ended up together during quarantine, leading to making this project. And one thing that was cool for, I think, both of us was Anthony and I both concentrated in directing. So it was rare that we both got to work on sets together because we were both doing them independently. But obviously, because of this, we were able to both kind of come together and just both of us work on something, which was really cool. And so that's basically the story. And how like I just started to explain how we ended up making the film was because we were stuck here together, and we knew we wanted to make something, and we were both kind of sick of talking about these projects that we had worked on months and years ago. And we came up with, a basic concept that we just kind of sort of just went at, and we went up to the building and looked at it, and we kind of came up with it as we went along, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, that's sort of how it came about.
What college did you guys meet at?
So we went to Point Park University here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Go Steelers or whoever. So yeah, we all met up there from different places. We're all from this part of Pennsylvania, so we all kind of converged.
Yes.
Downtown in the school, and kind of started to meet each other and like learn how we all operate and stuff. And now kind of are just a roving cast of different people doing different things and other people's sets and that kind of thing.
I think a circus troupe might be the best way to explain it.
Yeah, what's like the most goofy word for like a community? That's kind of what we're going for here. Yeah. It's kind of the vibe.
I've heard really good things about Pittsburgh, in terms of just the community and in general. It sounds really cool, actually.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. I love Pittsburgh, and I've lived here. Well, I guess both of us like off and on for 6 years. So I've really tried to become ingrained into not only the Pittsburgh community, but especially the film community.
Yes.
And it's a really great town full of like really hardworking people that really care about the city, and the filmmakers here are. They really make good work, and they're always looking to bring people in, and they're always looking for newcomers who want to learn more. And luckily for us, that worked out in our favor. There's a lot of like small film festivals around here that when we were in college, we were able to submit to and be able to get into and meet other people and network and compare our work to theirs in a creative way. So it's just a really good town creatively, but also it's just a super fun, enjoyable city to live in.
Yeah, very diverse in like different neighborhoods and things, and
yes,
pretty livable, very nicely. Our rent hasn't gone up in 3 years now, so don't tell our landlord, but like it's pretty exciting. Yeah, it's small. It's like it gives you a good chance to like live in a city while it's still being a small kind of community.
Yeah, definitely.
So where can people find you and your work, like websites, Instagram handles, that sort of thing?
My Instagram handle is Max C, the letter C 191. Basically I just operate off my Vimeo, which is just Vimeo / Max Cianci, MAXCIANCI. And that's where I post most of my work, is Instagram and Vimeo. So those are good spots.
Yeah, and I'm at anthonypeduzzi.com. Got the domain, thank God. All the socials and stuff are on there. And there's another Anthony Peduzzi on YouTube somewhere who like
He's a hack.
Yeah, he's jumping off cliffs and like riding RVs. Like that's not me. But I mean, it's kind of fun to watch sometimes. So I guess check him out. Free plug.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Anthony.
So how did the actual idea for the film come about? Like, was it something you just kind of thought about, or was it like inspired by something? Like how did that come to you? And the dust, the kind of the falling to dust was like one of my favorite parts of it. So how did that all like come about?
Well, I was on a walk one day. I knew that building because Anthony and I had like kind of been to it before, because it's just like a big abandoned building right by where we live. And it's very, as you can see in the film, it's like really interesting looking inside. And I was like looking up at one of the windows, and the curtains looked really cool. They were bellowing and like sucking inside. And I was like, man, that's spooky. And I kind of thought like, that would be really weird if I saw myself in the window, like just like thinking, I try to like come up with things that I think this is going to be it. And 99.9% of the time it's nothing. But I remember thinking like, I think this could be like a cool little idea. And so I was kind of looking around the building, and I came back and told Anthony, and we went right back up there, and we kind of just like walked through it. And we both kind of thought, why not just make it? It's simple. And I think people might like it right now because, the whole theme of the whole thing. And I believe it was Anthony's edition that was the dust, that was the whole idea of him turning to dust at the end and everything. So yeah, that's how the concept at least started going.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because he was just like, yeah, it'd be kind of cool. So we went over and we talked about it for a second. We're like, maybe it's a time loop. Huh?
Yeah.
Why not? Like, why not? And then what would happen?
Yeah. And I remember, because that's another thing too. Like I remember seeing myself in the window, and I remember like the concept of like, oh, like, well, what if I, I didn't see something up here, but I went to the door because I wanted to go to that room. And then once I was up at the room, I saw myself. And then I went down to the door, and then I just like disappeared. And that was like the bones of it. And then the dust thing came into play, which I think was like the glue that actually held it together to make it like keep compelling to be able to watch it. But the loop thing too, which like Anthony and I talked about a lot, like that was like one interesting part of it, because we've just found ourselves like, well, if he's here and he's here, then like, how's this going to work out? And if he hears footsteps up here, like where would this other guy be? And it ended up, it's not that complicated, but it ended up being more complicated than we had anticipated. And we just had to make sure we knew where the hell the Maxes were. And once we figured that out, it was okay.
Yeah, we're like, oh, this will be fun. Like, let's do it tomorrow. So then we came home and then started grinding up kitty litter and rice and all kinds of stuff. Whatever we could find that would kind of match.
Yeah.
And then, the next morning we went over and started doing it.
Yep.
Just
Kitty litter and rice, was that the key?
Yeah, it was
a lot of different things.
We used a lot of different things. We used, the main thing was kitty litter that we were planning on using, but it was too coarse.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't fine enough because we wanted like the dust effect. So we ended up like grinding it up on our floor. Like we have a pot. Like we were like grinding up with pots, And then
Max did this.
Yeah, I broke the pot because we were getting into it. Like we were really fired up. And but yeah, so
I mean, that's like the best part of filmmaking, is figuring those things out.
It is, and that goes back to like, it felt so great to be creating something after like not so long, and like I said, like so long of just talking about past projects, but then you just find yourself doing it, and you're like, man, I could be doing this way more often, So yeah, that was how the dust came to be. And in my mouth, a lot of people were like, oh, you put kitty litter in your mouth, and that's not really good for my image. So I want to put it out there that it was brown sugar, white rice, and then I put some grease paint in because I had to like sell it. So,
it was too healthy at that point.
Yeah, it had to put some sort of like toxic thing to give it that B-movie appeal. But that's what I put in my mouth.
And some of it was like cement and mortar.
Oh yeah.
So the masks, that was when the masks started being a thing. So we got a lot of use out of them at that time.
Yeah, we found a bunch of like quickcrete cement that we like kind of trailed all around that building.
Really
oh my God.
Yeah.
What do you know what its former use was by any chance?
Yeah, so the building was it's attached to a church.
Yeah.
In our neighborhood, and it used to be like an elementary, like Catholic school.
Mm.
So it used to.
Well, that's so appropriate.
Yeah.
I went to Catholic school. It's spooky even without the dust.
Yeah.
We went in there like right whenever lockdown and stuff started happening, just to kind of get out and like look around. And it's terrifying inside.
Yeah, it is
It's
very
so
scary. It is so scary. Like we would be standing there, and as you see in the thing, there's like these long like staircases up, like spiral type staircases. And the way the wind is in that building, like something would happen in the basement, and that sound would just echo like through the entire building. Where so many times when we were shooting, I would stop and I'd be like this, and Anthony would be like, "It's just a wind," and I'm like, "Oh my god, I gotta get out of here," because it's just terrifying. But
yeah, and we live in like the punk neighborhood of the city, so there's like a lot of kids and people were like breaking in there.
Yeah,
and like just a lot of graffiti and cans and God only knows what. It's a bit of a disaster in there.
There was some throwing caution to the wind with that location, but yeah, it looked good.
So anything you'd like to say before we wrap up at all about anything, honestly?
Well, we almost got arrested.
Yeah. That's it.
Why wouldn't you lead with that?
That's the fun.
You gotta save that for dessert. You know, that's gotta be the last thing.
Yeah, the making of this thing is way better than it. Like, it was just way more fun and interesting.
Yeah.
So what happened?
Yeah, so we were so like we shot over, I guess it was like 2.5-ish days, just because we just made the whole thing up as we went along. We shot it basically in order.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, okay, we gotta stop here so we can do it tomorrow for the light and stuff. So, you know, the first day you're walking around quietly and you hear like this wind coming up the steps and you're like, is someone here? Like, what's going on? We're really quiet about it. And then by the third day, like we're shooting those like zooms like in and out, and we're just yelling to each other.
Yeah, because my phone died, and I'm just like, Anthony, did you get it?
Yeah,
he's like, no. And this is a
again.
residential area.
Yeah, it's like houses.
like
we were just like, you know, caution to the wind, like who cares? Like 2.5 days, like what's the worst gonna happen? And then we were grabbing this. We were like, okay, it'd be really great to get this one shot for the edit just to make sure it works. Like you run down the steps, and then we shoot the rehearsal of it, and then we just hear like, hello.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, and it's like something police. So like we go outside and there's 4 cruisers, there's a K9 unit, and there's like 8 officers, and then like 2 dirty children walk out of the building, and then they look at us, they kind of are aggressive for a second, and it just was
Wow.
Yeah, it was interesting, especially the dog. They were like, we were about to send a dog in. I was like, my God.
For what? Wait, because you were filming, or they heard screaming? Is that the issue?
I have a feeling they really thought something bad was going on. Whether I don't want to make any suggestions, but enough to send a drug dog into an abandoned building.
That's pretty weird.
Where 2 people were shouting out the window.
Well, there was a lot of banging and screaming for a brief period.
Yeah, yeah,
You know?
and like, you know, a lot of dust probably on my face. It didn't look good. It wouldn't have looked good in court, I'll be honest. But luckily, Pittsburgh's finest they were forgiving, and they let us off with a warning. But
Oh my goodness. Well, thank goodness.
yeah, it was okay.
That's an awesome story, though.